Hi there, it's Diane from Stamping with Diane in Innisfil, Ontario, and I am coming to you today to show you my final project using the framed Florets stamp set from Stampin' Up. And today's project is going to partner that stamp set with this gorgeous Dainty Flowers Designer Series paper. This is 12 by 12 sheets and it is a free item in the Celebration flyer. Beautiful, beautiful floral designs, as well as the more neutral backing pages. Now this paper also pairs with a Dainty Flowers stamp set and dies from the January catalog. Now today I'm going to choose this beautiful floral, but I'm going to choose the back side. Check this out. And this card has been inspired by my friend Northern Stamper. And I just wanted to show you a really fun way to use this paper to make more than one card kind of at once. So I'm going to cut a piece, and I'm kind of looking at the colors I want. I'm thinking I'm going to want this corner. So I'm going to cut a cardstock front size, which would be the 5.5 by 4 1/4. So I'll just flip that over so I can get the 4 1/4 here. And then, oops, didn't come right through. There we go. And now I'm going to take this page and I'm just going to cut it into 3 pieces. So I'm not measuring. I'm just going to come up with some kind of neat patterns here. There we go. So now I have 3 pieces that I can use on a card base. And I haven't chosen the background color yet, but it is going to have a white mat. So for instance, I could put my piece like so, or I could angle, use this corner, or this corner, or I can use this fun design, and I could use it any way or shape that I wish. Okay, this one is calling my name, and so I'm seeing what I've done is pulled out the inks that coordinate with those colors, and I think I'd like to feature the Starry Sky, the Rich Raspberry, and the Old Olive. And we might throw a little bit of fresh freesia in there as well. I'm very happy with the look of the Starry Sky in behind. I will be embossing this white layer, and I'm going to use the Time Worn type to do so. So that's one that is in our annual catalog, and I think you're going to love how that one pops out. So I'm going to be doing the landscape version, and I've decided I haven't been featuring the smaller flowers very much of this stamp set, and they all have coordinating dies. So I've pulled out the small flowers and a few of the greenery, all which have coordinating dies, and I'm choosing to do all of this in black, Memento black ink. So let's just start stamping these up. So here's my Memento black, and I'm just going to do a few of the small flowers, a couple of the small ones, a couple of the mediums. I'm leaving a bit of space in between here because I will be die cutting these. And I think I changed my mind on the using Memento for the greenery. Let's go ahead and use the Old Olive for my greenery. So here's some of the smaller leaves. Again, I've got a coordinating die that's going to cut all of these out for us. And this larger, sorry about that, this larger greenery piece. And put that one in there. Might be able to fit one more. That might be a bit tight. All right, I'm going to color a couple of these, and again, I'm choosing the colors that are going to coordinate with our piece of paper. So I think I'm going to do a couple in Starry Sky and a couple in the Rich Raspberry. So we'll go ahead and grab those markers. And I'm also going to stamp the insert of this card, and I'm going to use that same greenery and just the small flower down here in the corner, which we can decide to color as well. And before I put all the inks away, I'm going to stamp the Celebrate sentiment, and I think the rich raspberry will be perfect to, again, just pull out some of the colors that are already on that little piece of designer paper. There we go, and we'll trim that up when we're ready to put it on. So I have the light starry sky that I'm just going to kind of highlight around some of these pieces of the flower. I'm going to do one of the small and one of the larger, and I'm just kind of following along some of the lines that are already here on the image. I figure the artists from Stamping Up knew where the detail should be better than I. I am not an artist. However, I love to create with our products because they are so easy to coordinate. Now, I'm concerned this might be a wee bit dark, so I'm going to play with possibly coloring it in with our Orchid Oasis. So let's just see how that looks. Yes, almost the same. These are two of our in colors. You notice I am not pressing hard at all. I'm just letting the brush tip kind of fill in. And then I'm going to leave that center, and I'm going to color that in with the crushed curry, just to give a little bit of, and I'll go ahead and do all of those with the crushed curry. And now let's kind of repeat with the rich raspberry, and again following the lines that are there. Our stamping blends really do blend nicely. Now I also have the color lifter handy in case I feel like it's a little bit darker than I was going for. So I'm happy I used the Orchid Oasis on this one. I think the Starry Sky all the way through the flower would be a little bit too dark for what I'm wanting to do today. So again, there's no right or wrong. You can mix and match your colors as you wish when you're coloring and when you're using our Stamping Up products, because they all do coordinate so nicely together. So I'm going to color these in now, and hopefully this isn't too dark. No, I think it's okay. I might just kind of do a little bit, and then maybe let's go over to my shelf and add something a wee bit lighter, and I'll show you how it really blends. I'm pulling in the dark petal pink, which is a lot different, but just kind of using that to give a little bit extra texture here. I kind of like that. As we know, in nature, things are not uniformly one color, are they? So I kind of like that. And I'm going over, with the light color, I'm going over the dark as well, and it is kind of lightening up that darker shade. Oh, I like it. I like it. Let's see what the color lifter does on this darker. It takes a minute. So what it's doing is actually pulling some of the color off, and then you can see that it is lightening that up. All right, I'm going to continue with those. I've also colored on the insert of our card, and these are now ready to layer through and run through my die cut and emboss machine, where I'm just lining up the floral shape with the die. And I'll run all of these through, and then we'll play with how we're going to put that together. Okay, I'm back. Now I love my hobby, but I also like efficiency. So by stamping everything on one sheet like this, I was able to die cut 3 or 4 pieces at a time by putting the different shapes on the one and then running it through my machine. So here I've got all these little bits now that we're going to be able to play with to design the front of our card. I've also taken the time now to run through with the time-worn type. This is a 3D embossing folder, and it's created this beautiful textured background. So let's start to create the card. We've got our piece of cardstock scored. Remember to put the mountain in the center. I should have my bone folder here, but it's over on the side. Okay, we're going to layer the time-worn type on top. I'm using my seal adhesive for this. I just give it a little twist as I finish off. Pop that centered. Again, this card was inspired by an idea I saw with Northern Stamper, and then I've tweaked it and made it my own. So here's the piece that we chose, or that I chose. Of course, it's it's always hard for me to turn it over and see the beautiful opposite side as well, and realize that I could have used it as well. Okay, so now I have all these bits and pieces, and I'm just going to play with putting some of this greenery on. I like our color choices so far. So we've got some of this raspberry coming out. I might not use all of these, but I'll just keep playing until we find something that we like. And then remember, I stamped the Celebrate. I think I'll put it over here. And this one, I'm just going to cut on an angle. I could use my flag, but I think I'd just like to snip that one on an angle, and it's going to go here. So I'm going to leave that in place as I start playing with my flowers. And this guy is going to go inside the card. And remember, I colored that as well, so it does coordinate nicely. I love the sentiment of Celebrate because it could be used for anything. I could put the thank you. I could put the wishes for a beautiful birthday inside the card. It's very, very versatile. All right. Okay, I'm quite happy with this design. Now, I haven't adhered anything down yet because I wanted to share with you. This is some of our Sweet Sorbet metallic woven ribbon, and you know we didn't use Sweet Sorbet on the card, but I really feel like it ties in beautifully with this rich raspberry. So I'm going to be just kind of winding it around and popping it in underneath. So the trick now is I started adhering from the bottom up. So these flowers are going to come on last, and then this ribbon is going to pop in at the end. So I almost want to take a picture of this before we start putting it all together. So there we go. We'll start by adhering these pieces, and I'll be using a combination of the Stampin' Seal, the Tombow white glue, and even a few glue dots for these. I've done the leaves with the white glue and adding in now a couple of our larger flowers. Again, I'm just putting a little swirl of white glue kind of in the center because that allows me a bit of wiggle room to get it just where I want it. Actually, maybe we'll put it this way. And then I'm adding my last of the leaves down here. Now we had this one popped, and maybe this one, see, I want that down a little bit farther so I can still play with that. I'm going to put this one up here. I don't think that's how I originally had it, but that's okay. So time to add in our little bit of metallic ribbon, and I'm just doing a back over front. I'm not tying anything here. I just want it to be a nice loose look, and I'm going to be putting it on the back of this little flower. So I'm going to use the seal adhesive for that, and then just lay it across. Okay, so now I have that. It's going to pop up like so, and we're going to want this blue one tucked down. So this one I'm going to use dimensionals on it, and we'll pop that last one into place. I have this in place, and now I'm just going to slide the last flower in underneath like so. There we have it. Okay, time for a few embellishments, and I'll adhere this piece into the center. Here's a reminder that when you use our Stamping Blends markers, they do bleed through. So you never want to put this right on the card front. You always want to make sure you're using your blends on an extra piece that's not going to bleed through. I'm actually deciding to use these small little dots, which come from the free Celebration Beautifully Happy, free with a $120 order. And I've decided, because of the dots over here, I'd like to just add a couple of little accent spots on our card front as well. And I'll put some right on the paper and a couple inside the card to tie that together. Oh, I like it. So here's where our stamp sets can partner together. And finally, I'll just add a few of these heart pearls. These are beautiful. Some are matte, some are pearlized, and some are a little bit more glossy, and we'll pop a few of those on. So there we go. I chose some of the pearl heart pearls with the little speckles now of the crushed curry. And there you have our fourth and final project using the framed Florets stamp set, which has been my feature for all of January. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope it inspires you, and thanks for joining in. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. Thanks, my friends.